It's just criticism. Why are you so mad? We're not trying to take away your games. Okay, fine. It's just criticism. However, your criticism is objectively wrong and bad.
You should feel bad.
Your songs glamorize gangs and drugs.
Our art is a reflection of our reality.
The very purpose of art is expression. Expression is the fundamental aspect of art that makes it different than, say, a power tool or a lamp. Although some lamps can be art, and some art can have an explicit utility, like a power tool. So when someone decided to criticize the NWA for having music that
Glamorize gangs and drugs.
the obvious response is to say, yeah, of course it does. That's the purpose of art. What, are you gonna go criticize a hammer for not being a good saxophonist?
Our art is a reflection of our reality.
For the purpose of this argument, let's define art as having three fundamental parts. The first is the medium. This is the form that the art takes, whether it's an oil painting or a rap song. The second is the execution, which is how well the artist performs within the medium in order to convey the last aspect of art, which is the message. If you look at a piece of art or music, like, for instance, Boys in the Hood by Eazy-E, and say, I don't like the message that it's sending, then you've essentially condemned that message as not being worth expressing. So when Kotaku decided to attack Kingdom Come Deliverance for trying to be historically accurate, they were attacking the expression of historical accuracy, condemning it as not being worth expressing. When Polygon decided to criticize The Witcher 3 for presenting a narrative within countries where people of color don't live, they were condemning The Witcher 3 for trying to express the story's historical canon. And when Dan Olson decided to open his stupid mouth and say that
one medieval game with dragons and magic, but no one with brown skin, is fine as is because historical accuracy. In a different medieval game, a character wears a chainmail bikini to a war zone because it's just a fantasy and that's just how her tribe dresses.
He is, again, condemning those pieces of art for doing what art does. He's not criticizing the medium itself. He's not criticizing the execution of the medium, and he's not criticizing the way in which the art expressed its final message. No, he's condemning the art for trying to express something he doesn't like. If you watch a horror movie and say, I don't like this movie because of how scary it is, then you're condemning the fundamental purpose of horror movies, to express fear. That's censorship. And at the very most, it's the worst kind of criticism that exists.
Don't quote me, boy, cause I ain't said shit.
Now, it's perfectly fine to have your opinions on something. That's great. But to try and posit your personal opinions as some kind of professional criticism of a media is just wrong. It makes you look like a charlatan. Particularly when you're criticizing a character in a video game who is an optional companion character, whose objectional outfit is optional as well, whose over-sexualizing animations are the result of an optional romance side quest, and the leering camera views in the helicopter are also optional, controlled by you. I think we all know what the real problem you have with quiet is, Jim. You couldn't keep your fat chode in your pants long enough to actually play the fucking game. Next time, just zip it up.
Will Smith don't got a cuss in his raps to sell records. Well, I do, so fuck him and fuck you too.
Jim just can't stop wanking over how much he hates having to see a sexy female character. He isn't providing criticism of how the art expressed its message because, like he says,
because she's a fucking awesome, badass character when the game allows her to be.
He's condemning the medium as being something he doesn't like. For him, the medium, that being a sexy woman, is incapable of expressing the final message. If you criticize a carpenter for using a mallet instead of a ball-peen hammer, and your reason is I don't like mallets, then that's not criticism. It's the ideological equivalent of slut-shaming. Quiet can't be a good character because she's such a slut and she gets my wee little dicky hard.
I'm more than just a hammer!
Just because you don't have any respect for a sexy female character doesn't mean the rest of us are puritanical, reductionist, ideological-driven, sexist, bigoted pricks. You say you hate censorship, but you're censoring us. Telling you that you're wrong isn't denying your right to be wrong. If that were the case, then reality is censoring people who believe the earth is flat by simply existing. The difference between your criticism and my criticism of your criticism is that mine fucking makes sense. Why are you so angry, Jack? First of all, your petty, emotionally manipulative meme is not a sufficient replacement for an argument. But sure, I'll tell you why I feel passionate on this issue. Your arguments are telling us that there needs to be a reason to do art, that art has a higher calling, a greater good that just so happens to be defined by you. But here's the thing. There doesn't need to be a fucking reason to do art. Art is valuable in and of itself, and to deny its right to exist is tantamount to unwittingly desecrate the entire history of human advancement, condemning the one value that we, all of us as living beings, are able to take part in: human expression. Raw, unedited, vulgar human emotionality, forever penned in by the subjective whims of your moralistic preening, just moments after breaking free from the bondage of religious imposition. You are literally denying our right to be alive and taking us back into the Dark Ages with progressive feminism as the new ideological cage. Go fuck yourself.